You open your laptop. You have one important thing to do. You know exactly what it is. And instead, you check your phone, make some tea, reorganize your desk, watch one video, and suddenly 2 hours are gone and you haven't started. And then comes the guilt, the self-talk. Why am I like this? Why can't I just do the thing? What is wrong with me? Here's what I want to tell you right now. Nothing is wrong with you. Procrastination is not a character flaw. It is not laziness. And the reason you can't just push through it is because you've been misunderstanding what it actually is. Today we're going to get to the real root of it and give you something that actually helps. Most people think procrastination is about time management. If I just had a better schedule, a better app, a better system, I'd stop doing this. But research in psychology tells us something completely different. Procrastination is not a time problem. It is an emotion problem. Here's what's actually happening. When you sit down to do a task that feels threatening in some way, and we'll get to why it feels threatening, your brain registers it as danger. Not physical danger, but emotional danger. The kind that comes from fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not being good enough. And your brain's job, above everything else, is to move you away from pain. So it offers you an escape. The phone, the snack, anything that gives you a small hit of relief right now instead of sitting with that discomfort. Procrastination, at its core, is emotional avoidance. You are not avoiding the task. You are avoiding the feeling the task brings up. And this is why willpower doesn't work. You cannot willpower your way out of an emotional response. Telling yourself to just focus is like telling someone who is anxious to just calm down. The instruction makes sense. The nervous system doesn't care. So where does this emotional response come from? For most people, it connects back to one of three things. Perfectionism, the belief that if you can't do it perfectly, it's safer not to do it at all. Fear of judgment. What will people think if I try and fail? Or a deep, quiet belief that you are not capable. That starting will only confirm what you already secretly fear about yourself. These aren't small things. They are real psychological weights that sit on top of every task that matters to you. And the more something matters, the heavier the weight and the harder it is to begin. This is why you can procrastinate on the most important things in your life while having no problem doing things that don't matter. It's not about difficulty, it's about emotional stakes. And the impact of this runs deeper than missed deadlines. Over time, chronic procrastination quietly destroys your self-trust. Every time you don't follow through, a small voice inside gets a little louder. See, you can't do it. You're not reliable. You're not the kind of person who finishes things. And that voice makes the next task even harder to start. It becomes a cycle that feeds itself. In relationships, it shows up as promises not kept, opportunities not taken, conversations avoided. In careers, it's the project that could have changed things, sitting unfinished in a folder somewhere. In daily life, it's the gap between who you are and who you know you could be, and the low-level shame of living in that gap. So here is what actually helps. First, lower the entry point to almost nothing. Don't tell yourself you're going to work for 2 hours. Tell yourself you're going to work for 5 minutes. The goal is not productivity. The goal is to prove to your nervous system that starting is safe. Once you begin, the emotional threat drops. Most of the time, you'll keep going. But even if you stop, you started. And that matters more than you think. Second one, name the feeling before you open the task. Sit for 30 seconds and ask, what am I actually afraid of here? Failure? Looking stupid? Confirming a fear about myself? When you name the emotion, it loses some of its power over you. You stop being driven by something invisible. Third, separate your worth from your output. This one is slower work, but it's the most important. Remind yourself regularly that a bad first draft doesn't make you a bad person. An unfinished task doesn't make you a failure. You are allowed to do things imperfectly. You are allowed to try and not get it right. That permission, given to yourself consistently, is what eventually makes starting feel safe. You are not lazy. You are not broken. You are someone who learned to protect yourself from emotional pain. And that protection just got a little misdirected. The task was never the problem. The fear underneath it was. And now that you can see it, you have something real to work with. Tell me in the comments, what's the one thing you've been procrastinating on the longest? And if this helped you see yourself a little more clearly, like it and subscribe. There's more coming that I think you'll find valuable.